Week 1 brought us awesome quarterback play all over the league. So today I want to talk about some downfield handoffs and surgical third down conversions. But before I get into my top 10 throws of the week, let me explain my thought process behind developing this list. And while I do so, you can take a look at some honorable mentions that just missed the cut. I'm calling this top 10 throws, but I want you to think of it more as top 10 pass plays by quarterbacks. The pre-snap process matters, the post-snap process matters, and the situation matters. Throws that followed pre-snap coverage recognition or post-snap eye manipulation are going to be evaluated differently from throws that didn't. Throws that happened late in close games or on key third downs are again going to be evaluated differently from throws made in the first quarter or in garbage time. Rather than just evaluating the throw, we're going to look at the context, which I promise you makes this much more interesting than it would be if we were just talking about the throw. And show some support if you like what you see today. Drop a comment and let me know, because if this does well, I'll make it a season-long series. And one last thing before I get started. I will miss plays, whether it's this week or in the future. I can't watch every single play from every single game. I did my best to catch them all this week, but feel free to flame me in the comments for the ones I miss, or for the order I decided on, or for that Brandon Staley video from a few years back. Give that algorithm what it wants. With that out of the way, I'll start with my pick for the number 10 spot, which is a classic Aaron Rodgers pre-snap clinic. It's 3rd and 8, late in the third quarter, and the Jets called a dagger concept with an alert go route from Garrett Wilson on the backside. Pre-snap, Rodgers hits the defense with a brutal hard count, and he gets everybody. The edges jump, Fred Warner jumps, the defensive backs start to rotate. Pretty much everybody in a red jersey thought the ball was being snapped. Leonard Floyd can't get back behind the line of scrimmage before the snap, which gives Rodgers and the Jets offense a free play. He looks off the post safety, which opens up the middle of the field for Allen Lazard on this divide route down the seam. Rodgers hits him in stride for a 36-yard touchdown to keep the Jets alive. The only reason why I don't have this play any higher is because it never should have happened. The guys in red weren't the only ones to jump. Watch Tyler Conklin, the tight end lined up on the bottom half of your screen. After Leonard Floyd jumps, Conklin flinches, which should have prompted the refs to call a neutral zone infraction on the defense rather than offsides. The key difference there is that if it were called a neutral zone infraction, the play correctly would have been blown dead. You can see the defensive backs react to Conklin's movement too. They think that the play's about to be blown dead, which at least partially caused this coverage bust. Either way, it was an awesome vintage Rodgers play that earned its spot on the list. At number 9, I have this dot from Sam Darnold against the Giants. New York called cover 1 rat, which is man coverage across the board with inside help from the post safety and a rat linebacker. To the field side, the Vikings called a 2-man route combination known as smash return, and this variation tells Justin Jefferson to run a pylon route, which puts more vertical stretch on the defense than a typical corner route would. Post-snap, the wide corner Deonte Banks tries to funnel Jefferson to his inside help, but Banks gets caught flat-footed when Jefferson breaks, and Darnold drops it in the bucket from the far hash. Is this Sam Darnold's year? Many are saying that a year 7 breakout is imminent. Number 8 comes from a more familiar face, in classic Pat Mahomes run around and find Travis Kelce fashion. It's 3rd and 12, and Baltimore calls cover 1 cross, which is similar to cover 1 rat, just with a safety coming down to rob the middle of the field, rather than a linebacker dropping back. On the other side of the ball, this looks like a cross-dig concept coming from the strong side with a rounded corner route from Kelce, but it's tough to tell what route Kelce was running because he gets forced right into the inside help by the wide corner Brandon Stevens. When Mahomes reaches the depth of his dropback, he's got nothing that's going to have a chance to convert. Kelce is doubled in the middle of the field, and the in-breakers from the field side haven't broken yet as the pressure closes in. So as usual, that's when the magic happens. Mahomes breaks the sack, rolls to his right, and hits Kelce in stride to convert on 3rd and 12. Baltimore did pretty much everything right here. They got pressure before the downfield routes came open, and Travis Kelce was locked up until Mahomes broke the pocket. There is no defense for this, and frankly, I'm sick of it. Number 7 was on a really cool design by Steelers offensive coordinator Arthur Smith. My fellow degenerates know that Smith gets way more hate than he deserves. And this design from late in the second quarter is a great example of why he's a lot more creative than you might think. There are 9 seconds left in the half, and the Steelers are at their own 42-yard line, so they need at least 20 yards to justify a field goal attempt to finish the half. Atlanta's in a pretty clear quarter-half look, with A.J. Terrell up at the line of scrimmage and Mike Hughes in off coverage on the other side with a 2-high safety shell. It's a structure that Raheem Morris calls a lot, so Arthur Smith knew to expect it here. The first key to this play call is the movement of the pocket. Pittsburgh made a full slide max protection call, which tells the 6 protectors on the line to slide to the left and the running back to take the boundary side edge as Justin Fields rolls out left. That designed roll causes the entire defense to flow toward the field side, which puts the safety, Jesse Bates, out of position to cover this outbreaker from George Pickens. After he sets his feet, Fields rifles it to Pickens from the far hash into the cover 2 honey hole, leading him out of bounds and entering field goal range with 3 seconds to go in the half. It's no surprise that even a safety as great as Jesse Bates didn't feel threatened by a deep outbreaker from the far hash because most quarterbacks can't hit those. But Justin Fields can. And Arthur Smith is already putting him in a better position to succeed than anyone in Chicago did. For number 6, I'll take us back to San Francisco for a real downfield handoff from Aaron Rodgers. Here, the Jets have mirrored go routes from the number 1s out wide and quick hitters from the number 2s on the inside. The 49ers are in a too-high shell pre-snap that'll turn into a middle-of-field closed look post-snap with press man on the outside. Rodgers likes the matchup between Allen Lazard and Isaac Yiadom. So after identifying the single high coverage, Rodgers gives his guy a chance with a perfect anticipatory throw. Look at where Lazard was when Rodgers let go of this ball. He's barely 5 yards downfield. The coverage is tight, but as Dan Marino would say, there's no defense against a perfect pass. Even after Achilles surgery, and perhaps more significantly, psychedelics you've never heard of, Rodgers still has the perfect pass in his bag. Number 5 is the first of 2 you'll see from Anthony Richardson. Pre-snap, Houston is in a too-high shell that'll roll into cover 2 post-snap. The Colts called a dagger concept with motion at the snap that brings Ashton Doolin across the formation before running the dagger route. The post-snap execution from Richardson here is really encouraging. Just watch his eyes. After taking the snap, he IDs the split field look, then his eyes dart to the running back in the flat. But Richardson never wanted to target the back. By looking to the flat, he moved the linebacker in the window of that dagger route. Once the linebacker was out of there, he launched a missile to Doolin in stride, who took it for a 54-yard touchdown to keep the Colts in the game. You'd like to see this ball come out a little bit earlier to make the window wider, but this was great post-snap execution for a guy who isn't even scratching the surface of his full potential. At number 4, I have Lamar Jackson's last completion from Baltimore's Thursday night football game against Kansas City. It's first down with 43 seconds to go in the game, and the Ravens are down 7 in need of a touchdown at the Kansas City 48-yard line. Chiefs defensive coordinator Steve Spagnuolo loves to make things difficult on the opposing quarterback by coaching his defensive backs to move around pre-snap. First they show a staggered 2-high look, then that becomes 1 high, and then 2 high again as the ball is snapped, and they rotate into a soft cover 2. Baltimore goes with a 3-man verticals concept, with a divide route from the number 2 and out and ups from the number 1s out wide. Those out and ups can be lethal against cover 2 because they get into that honey hole between the wide corners and deep half safeties, but they take a long time to develop, so the protection needs to hold up. Post-snap, Jackson feels pressure off the edge, but finds a lane out to his right and throws a perfect ball to Rashad Bateman on the sideline for a gain of 38 yards. The 3 straight incompletions that followed were the talking point after the game, but without this throw, those plays don't even happen. Number 3 is Geno Smith's last drop back from Seattle's tight game against Denver. The Seahawks are up 6, facing 3rd and 6 at their own 34-yard line with just under 2 minutes to go. A first down seals the game. Seattle goes empty with the back out wide, who gets followed out there by a linebacker, which is a dead giveaway for man coverage. Denver called man-free cover 1, which drops a safety into the post and sends 5 at the quarterback. Seattle goes with the quintessential man beater known as mesh with intersecting shallow crossing routes run by DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. The concept tells Metcalf to set a pick for Lockett on the man covering him, but he has to do so without getting called for offensive pass interference. Despite Metcalf's effort to obstruct the wide corner's path, the coverage remains tight, and as the pressure closes in off the edge, Geno has to let go of the ball. From the end zone angle, you can see how tight this window was. There was no margin for error. He put it just barely out of the corner's reach and just barely within Lockett's reach to put the game away. Trevor Lawrence gave us a beauty to claim the number 2 spot on a 3rd and long in the red zone. Jacksonville sends the tight end Evan Ingram out wide after they break the huddle to get a zone coverage ID, and the wide split between the 2 safeties, along with the heavy outside leverage from the wide corners, suggests that Miami is in cover 2. Jacksonville needs to take a shot, so they call a concept that sends all 3 wide receivers into the end zone. The number 1s out wide are running wide-stemmed stop routes that break back to the ball in the end zone, and the number 2 is running a deep over route. Post-snap, Miami rolls into a Tampa 2, and the apex defenders responsible for the intermediate middle of the field get a lot of depth, which takes both of these stop routes away. At this point, Lawrence wants to find the over route coming from his right, but he keeps his eyes on Gabe Davis to hold the safety down. Just before he takes a hit, he layers a perfect ball over everybody, right into Brian Thomas's hands. A certified downfield handoff from the most misunderstood quarterback in the NFL. Number one, the inspiration for this video, and possibly the greatest throw of all time, came from Anthony Richardson in the first quarter of his game against the Texans. The Colts called a two-man deep shot concept off of split zone action, which tells the number one up top to run a 15-yard out route and the number one down low to run a skinny post route. Houston is in quarters, which makes this out route up top a great option. But Richardson slips as he reaches the depth of his dropback, and with pressure coming from all directions, most quarterbacks would just throw it away. But Richardson launches it off of his back foot and somehow beats the double coverage to hit Alec Pierce in stride for a 60-yard touchdown on a ball that traveled 66 yards in the air. This series would have to go for a long time to top that one, but I hope we do someday because I really enjoyed putting this together. If you liked what you saw, please show some support. Drop a like, subscribe, check out the Patreon. Anything you can do to help me continue making these videos would mean the world. But that's all I've got for today, so until next time, take care.